자, 제가 1석3조 영어성경 읽으면서 제 아령 들고 리프팅하기 그다음에 하체는 이제 스쿼팅하기를 계속 실천했는데 너무너무 건강이 좋아졌거든요. 근데 몇 달 방치하면 또 원래 상태로 돌아와요. 그래서 덕분에 이번에 오병이어 영어성경 공부반을 시작하면서 이제 이렇게 다시 영어성경 읽으면서 상체 근력 운동, 하체 근력 운동 이렇게 실천해 봅니다. 너무너무 좋은 방법이라 시간이 없으신 분들 공부는 해야 되는데, 자, 공부도 해야 되고, 운동도 해야 되는데, 정말 시간이 없으시다면, 자, 이 방법 해보실 거 강력하게 추천드립니다. 네, 영어. 멈춰야 되겠다. 알은 어디 갔지? 아, 참. 안녕하세요. 자, 영어 성경 읽으면서 상체 근력 운동, 하체 근력 운동 이제 실천해 보겠습니다. 이번 주에 월요일밖에 못했네요. 오늘까지 해서 두 번 해보고 다음 주에는 세 번 도전하겠습니다. 자, 아령을 들고 이렇게 리프팅, 더블자 리프팅을 하시면서 다리는 넓게 벌리고 스쿼팅을 하세요. 그런데 영어 공부도 해야 돼요. 10분 동안. 그러면 저는 이번 주에는 요한복음 영어 성경 2장을 쉐도잉 해보도록 하겠습니다. 자, 만약에 저는 1.5kg짜리 아령인데 만약에 아령이 없으시다면 이렇게 1kg짜리 요 쌀병이에요. 그다음에 우유병이 1kg짜리 우유병이나 쌀병 가지고 이렇게 활용할 수도 됩니다. 저는 이게 너무 가볍네요. 1.5kg 정도 돼야지 운동이 될 것 같아요. 자, 처음 하실 때는 500g으로 시작하셔도 됩니다. 시작하겠습니다.
John chapter 2.
John
On the
chapter
third
2.
day,
On
a
the
wedding
third
took
day,
place
a
at
wedding
Cana
took
in
place at
Galilee.
Cana in Galilee.
Jesus'
Jesus'
mother was
mother went
there,
there,
and Jesus
and
and his
Jesus and his
disciples had
disciples
also
had
been
also been
invited to the wedding.
invited to the wedding.
When the wine was
When
gone,
the wine was gone,
Jesus' mother said to him,
Jesus' mother said
"They
to
have
him,
no more
they
wine."
have no more wine.
"Woman,
Woman,
why do you
why do you
involve me?"
involve me?
Jesus replied,
Jesus replied,
"My hour
my
has
hour
not
has
yet
not
come."
yet come.
His mother
His
said to
mother
the
said
servants,
to the
"Do
servant,
whatever he
do
tells you."
whatever he tells you.
Nearby stood
Nearby
six
stood
stone
6
water
stone water
jars,
jars,
the
the
kind
kind
used
used
by
by
the
the
Jews
Jews
for
for
ceremonial
ceremonial
washing,
washing, each
each holding
holding
from
from
20 to
20 to
30
30
gallons.
gallons.
Jesus said
Jesus
to the
said to the
servants,
servant,
"Fill
fill the
the
jar
jars
with
with
water.
water." So they
So
filled
they
them to the
filled
brim.
them to the brim.
Then he told them,
Then he told them,
"Now draw some
now
out
draw some
and
out
take
and
it to the
take it to
master
the
of the
master of
banquet."
the banquet.
They did so,
They did so.
and the master of the
And the master of
banquet
the
tasted the
banquet
water
tasted the water
that had been turned
that had
into
been
wine.
turned into wine.
He did not
He didn't
realize where it had
realize
come
where
from,
it had come
though
from.
the servants who had
Those
drawn the
servants
water knew.
who had drawn the water
Then he
knew.
called the bridegroom
Then he
aside
called the
and
bridegroom
said,
aside and said,
"Everyone brings out the
everyone
choice
brings
wine
out the
first,
choice wine
and then
first,
the
and
cheaper
then the
wine
cheaper
after the
wine
guests have
after
had
the
too much
guests
to drink.
had too much
But
drink.
you have
But
saved
you
the
have
best till
saved the
now."
best till now.
What Jesus did
What
here
Jesus
in
did
Cana
here in
of
Cana of
Galilee
Galilee
was the
was the
first of
first
the
of signs
signs through
through
which he
which he
revealed his
revealed his
glory,
glory,
and
and
his
his
disciples
disciples
believed
believed
in
in
him.
him.
After this,
After
he
this,
went
he
down to
went down to
Capernaum with
Capernaum
his
with
mother
his
and
mother and
brothers
brothers
and his
and his
disciples.
disciples.
There
There
they
they
stayed
stayed
for
for
a
a
few
few
days.
days.
When it was
When it
almost
was
time
almost
for the
time for
Jewish
the Jewish
Passover,
Passover, Jesus
Jesus
went
went
up
up
to
to Jerusalem.
Jerusalem.
In the temple
In the
courts,
temple
he
courts, he
found
found
people
people
selling
selling
cattle,
cattle,
sheep,
sheep,
and
and
doves,
goats,
and
and
others
others
sitting
sitting
at
at
tables
tables
exchanging
exchanging
money.
money.
So he made
So
a
he
whip
made
out
a
of
whip out
cords
of cords
and
and
drove
drove
all
all
from the
from the
temple
temple
courts,
courts,
both
both
sheep
sheep
and
and
cattle.
cattle.
He scattered the
He
coins
scattered
of the money
the coins
changers
of the money
and
changers and
overturned their tables.
overturned their tables.
To those who sold
To those who
doves,
sold
he
doves,
said,
he said,
"Get
get
these
these out
out
of
of here.
here. Stop
Stop
turning
turning
my
my
father's
Father's
house
house
into a
into a
market."
market." His
His
disciples
disciples
remembered that it is
remembered
written,
that it is written,
"Zeal
"Zeal
for
for
your
your
house
house
will
will
consume
consume
me."
me.
The
The
Jews then
Jews then
responded to him,
respond to him, what
"What
sign can
sign
you
can you
show
show
us
us
to
to
prove
prove your
your
authority to
testimony
do all
to all
this?"
this, to do all
Jesus
this?
answered them,
Jesus answered them,
"Destroy this
destroy
temple,
this temple,
and I will
and
raise
I
it
will
again
raise
in
it
3
again in
days."
3 days.
They
They
replied,
replied,
"It has taken
it has taken
46 years
46
to
years to
build this
build this
temple,
temple,
and
and you
you
are
are
going to
going to
raise it
raise
in
it in
3
3 days."
days.
But the temple he
But the
had
temple
spoken
he had
of
spoken
was
of
his
was his
body.
body.
After
After
he
he
was
was
raised
raised
from
from
the
the
dead,
dead, his
his disciples
disciples
recalled
recalled
what he
what
had
he had
said.
said.
Then they
Then
believed
they
the
believed
scripture
the
and the
scripture
words
and
that
the
Jesus
words
had
that Jesus
spoken.
had spoken.
Now, while he
Now,
was
while
in
he was in
Jerusalem at the
Jerusalem at the
Passover
Passover
festival,
festival,
many
many
people
people
saw the
saw the
signs
signs
he was
he was
performing
performing and
and
believed in
believed in
his
his name.
name.
But
But
Jesus would
Jesus
not
would not
entrust himself
entrust
to them,
himself to them,
for he
for he
knew
knew
all
all
people.
people.
He
He
did
did
not
not
need
need
any
any testimony
testimony
about
about mankind,
mankind,
for he
for he
knew
knew
what was
what
in
he was
each person.
in each person.
우리나라 상황이라면
이게
이렇게
뭐죠?
살릴 수 있는 환자를
이게 왜,
굉장히 힘들어요.
이게 뭐예요? 왜 나와 있지?
안녕하세요.
건너뛰기.
국경 없는 의사의
벌써 끝났네요. 지금 4분밖에 안 걸렸어요. 이러면은, 자, 오늘 저희 10분 운동하는 게 목표니까 다시 한 번 하면 되겠죠. 다시 한 번, 처음부터 하겠습니다. 그러면 딱 10분 목표 할 수 있을 것 같아요. 5분.
John chapter 2.
John chapter
On the
2.
third
On the
day,
third
a
day, a
wedding
wedding
took
took
place
place
at
at
Cana
Cana
in
in
Galilee.
Galilee. Jesus' mother was
Jesus' mother
there.
was there, and
And
Jesus and his
Jesus said his
disciples had
disciples
also been invited
had
to the
been
wedding.
invited to the wedding.
When the wine
When the
was
wine
gone,
was gone,
Jesus'
Jesus'
mother
mother
said
said
to
to
him,
him, "They
"They
have
have
no
no
more
more
wine."
wine." "Woman,
Woman, why
why
do
do
you
you
involve
involve me?"
me? Jesus
Jesus replied,
replied, "My
"My
hour
hour
has
has
not
not
yet
yet
come."
come. His mother
His
said
mother
to the
said to the
servants,
servant,
"Do
"Do whatever
whatever he
he
tells
tells
you."
you."
Nearby
Nearby
stood
stood
6
6 stone
stone
water
water
jars,
jars, the
the
kind
kind
used by the
used by
Jews
the
for
Jews for
ceremonial
ceremonial
washing,
washing, each
each
holding
holding from
from
20
20
to
to
30
30
gallons.
gallons.
Jesus
Jesus
said to
said
the
to the
servants,
servants, "Fill their
"Fill the
jars with
jars with
water."
water."
So they
So
filled
they filled
them to
them
the
to the brim.
brim. Then
Then
he
he told
told
them,
them,
"Now
"Now
draw
draw
some
some
out
out and take
and
it
take
to
it
the
to the
master
master
of
of
the
the banquet."
banquet." They did
They
so.
did so, and the master of
And
the
the master of the
banquet
banquet
tasted the
tasted the
water
water
that had
that
been
had been
turned
turned
into
into
wine.
wine.
He did
He
not
did not
realize
realize
where it had come from,
where it had
though
come
the
from,
servants who
though
had
the
drawn the
servant
water knew.
who had drawn the water
Then
knew.
he called the
Then he
bridegroom
called the
aside
bridegroom
and said,
aside and said, Everyone
Everyone
brings
brings
out
out the
the
choice
choice wine
wine first,
first, and
and
then
then
the
the
cheaper
cheaper
wine
wine after the guests
after
have
the
had
guest
too
has
much to
had too
drink.
much drink.
But you
But
have
you have
saved
saved
the
the
best
best
till
till
now.
now.
What
What
Jesus did
Jesus
here
did
in Cana of Galilee
Cana of
was
Galilee
the
was the
first of
first
the
sign of
signs through which he
really
revealed his
revealed
glory,
his glory.
and his
His
disciples
disciples
believed
believed
in
in
him.
him.
After this,
After
he
this,
went
he
down
went
to
down to
Capernaum
Capernaum
with his
with his
mother
mother
and
and
brothers
brothers and
and his
his
disciples.
disciples. There they
There they
stayed for a
stayed
few
for a few
days.
days. When it was
When it was
almost
almost
time for
time
the
for the
Jewish
Jewish
Passover,
Passover, Jesus
Jesus
went
went
up
up
to
to Jerusalem.
Jerusalem.
In the
In
temple
the temple
courts,
courts,
he
he
found
found
people
people
selling
selling
cattle,
cattle,
sheep,
sheep,
and
and
doves,
doves, and
and others
others
sitting
sitting
at
at
tables
tables
exchanging
exchanging
money.
money.
So he made
So
a
he
whip
made
out
a
of
whip out of
cords
cords
and
and drove
drove
all
all
from
from
the
the temple
temple
courts,
courts,
both
both
sheep
sheep
and
and
cattle.
cattle.
He scattered
He
the
scattered
coins of
these
the money
coins of the money
changers
changers
and
and
overturned their tables. To
overturned the
those who
tables.
sold
To those who
doves, he
sold doves,
said,
he said,
Get
Get these
these
out of
out of
here.
here.
Stop turning
Stop
my
turning
father's
my
house
father's
into a
house
market.
into a market. His
It says,
disciples remembered that it
remember
is
that
written,
is written, Zeal
Zeal for
for your
your
house
house will
will
consume
consume
me.
me.
The
The
Jews then
Jews then
responded to him,
respond to him, What
What
sign can
sign
you
can you
show
show
us
us
to
to
prove your
prove your
authority to
authority
do
to
all
do all
this?
this? Jesus answered
Jesus
them,
answered them, Destroy this
Destroy this
temple,
temple,
and I
and
will
I
raise
will
it
raise it
again
again in
in
3
three
days.
days.
They replied,
They replied, It
It
has
has
taken
taken
46
46
years
years
to
to
build
build
this
this temple,
temple, and
and
you are
you are
going to
going
raise
to
it in
raise it in
3 days?
3 days? But the
What the
temple he had
temple had
spoken of
spoken of was
was his
his
body.
body. After he
After
was
he was
raised from the
raised from the
dead,
dead,
his
his
disciples
disciples
recalled
recalled
what
what he
he
had
had
said.
said.
Then they believed the scripture
Then
and the
they,
words that Jesus had spoken.
요거는 멈춰야 될 것 같아요.
Now,
구분.
while he was in Jerusalem at the
Now he
Passover
was in
festival,
Jerusalem at the
many
Passover
people
festival.
saw the
Many people
signs he
saw the
was performing and
signs he
believed
was
in his
performing
name.
and believed in his
But
name.
Jesus would
But
not
Jesus would
entrust
not
himself to
entrust
them,
himself to them.
for he knew
For he
all
knew all
people.
this, all
He
people,
did not
he did
need
not
any
need any
testimony
testimony
about
about
mankind,
mankind. 자,
for he
오늘,
knew what was in
for he
each
knew
person.
what he was in each person. 자, 오늘 이렇게 해서 영어 온완 501입니다.
기다려줘. 아직